being said, though, we have been talking about these sort of older faces of the community a lot, and while obviously Skarny isn't exactly new, Kaadzik pretty much is. So let's talk about some of these two and what they will have to offer in this upcoming game that we are fortunate enough to cast together.
Yeah, this is a matchup that I'm excited for in a different way, right? Like the Koopa and Guggy matchup was exciting because those are two, experienced players, high level players of the game, and they're gonna do some high level plays. This is a bit more of a lopsided in terms of experience. I mean, JS Carney has a lot of experience. He's played a lot of games, and so he definitely has a lot of tricks. And Kaadzik has, not a lot of experience. He's new to this, which is intriguing. Sometimes it's not always about, the score, it's about the growth, how you play, if like is the craft there. And so while I'm not, anything could happen, anyone could win, but I don't think anybody would be looking at this match and saying, "Oh, if Kaadzik doesn't win this match, it's a failure." I think at this point, the main things he should be prioritizing are, you know, trying to win a few games, learn a lot, and improve as the match goes on. I think if we can see a couple of flashes and a couple of really good games from Kaadzik, it's definitely a bright future for him. I know this was my first event a year ago, and I had some games that were pretty bad. I lost one game to Koopa without winning a single. I think I got 12-0'd. And so
Yeah.
sometimes you need that welcome to SpyParty type of moment to help kickstart you to the next level. But I do think that Kaadzik has, shown some promise in the matches previous, and so I would be curious to see how he does here.
Yeah, think Penguin Pool obviously where I got my start as well. I did only get stomped 8-4 by Koopa, though it was obviously quite a one-sided affair, even though the score maybe suggests a bit less of a one-sided affair than a 12-0. Then I obviously died against you, which I wasn't particularly happy about, but the postmortem that came away from that was pretty nice, I think. Yeah, with that being said, I think we can move on to the draft here. And we're gonna be seeing a lot of these beefy and chunky venues again. Kaadzik banning the strawberry set, which is the 3 of 7 set, so not really excited to play these, just decides not to, which is obviously fair. Skarny banning protein, so the experimental set. I think the logic behind that is gonna be that, why introduce yourself to volatility when you don't have to? You should be a
Yeah,
better player, so why
I
do that?
agree. That Carney has a lot more experience, and protein is something that he doesn't have a lot of experience in because, well, nobody does since it's a new, setup. So combining that makes it so that they have to play spy party venues that he has a lot of experience on. For Kaadzik, I think the ban on Strawberry is simple. New players tend to struggle with the 3 of 7 because, you know, Contact and Seduce are super, super, super hard missions for newer players to really pinpoint someone on. And when you only need one mission, I mean, it just means you have to be so locked in for the 3 minutes plus change or what minus change, whatever the time is. And for a new player, that can be very, very tough. It can be hard. You could miss a bug and then the game's over. And so I think banning the 3 of 7 eliminates that and gives Kaadzik a little more of a chance on the sniper side to catch one of the harder tells on the 4 of or 5 of venues.
Yeah, and Kaadzik going forward and picking Mango, so I think following the exact same logic, just giving himself the best chance possible to hold down the sniper and perhaps looking at the spy side of his games as maybe like a potential plus, but mainly he's gonna be focusing on holding down the sniper side there. Skarny picking vanilla, so very much what you would expect from a player that's gonna be heavily favored in the set. With Skarny then going on to banning Aquarium, which is in his vanilla set, isn't because it's a 5 of 8, my bad. He bans the 5 of 8 Aquarium, so just doesn't want to play that, doesn't want you to have fun casting. And Kaadzik bans Modern 4 of 8, which is a venue that I have been, saying for a long time is really harsh on new players because you can pretty much see everything, but you just need to keep track of everything as well, and that can be really demanding.
Yeah, I really like Kadzik's ban here on Modern because I think of the venues, that is the hardest one for a new player because it's a very wide venue and it can be very hard to keep up. I Interestingly enough, both Guggy and Koopa picked the exact same sets. Kaadzik or Guggy picked mango, so did Kaadzik, and Carney picked vanilla, so did Koopa. And so I think that that might be like a vanilla is typically the one you want to go for when you feel like you have an advantage on the baseline spy party matches. And so like all the 4 of 7, 4 of 8s, those middle of the road type of venues with a lot of guests are something that people with experience prefer because it could be overwhelming for a new player to have to play that. And I'm sure jscarny has more games on these venues than Kaadzik probably has in total. And so, yeah, all the picks make a lot of sense, and I think we're ready.
Yeah, absolutely. If there was, somebody that you need for her presentation, then you can certainly get Bryce because he's basically said what I did in 10 seconds in about, 3 to 4 minutes. So I mean, getting there, obviously, he doesn't find it as funny. He doesn't like to be the target of bad jokes, apparently. Luckily, this was a good one, so hopefully he can find some solace in that. Yeah, that
It
being
was an
said, I
okay
think,
joke.
thank you very much. I needed that. I'm very insecure. That being said, I think we can move on to the start of the game. So it's gonna be Scarny, not Carney, but we can call him Carney, honestly. It's kind of fun. Spying as white dress here on veranda in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, he may not like being called Carney, but I don't really feel like, saying J.S. Carney. That's just too many,
I,
it's a word vomit
I
at that point. I would just rather keep it one syllable when talking. So if you don't like it, Carney, ask for what else you want to be called. We'll call you Jay. I don't mind.
well, I mean, Scarny is also one syllable, but you know, perhaps not the sharpest tool in the shed. So,
Oh yeah,
uh,
Scarney. Yeah, that makes some sense. I guess.
yeah, that's kind of
English is
what I've
hard.
been.
I I'm
Yeah,
not here. I'm not here for my academics. Okay, I'm here to commentate a video game. So
yeah,
thankfully, I'm not getting graded for this. But
yeah.
th-
Good
we
thing,
got we
good
got a
thing.
green time ad early, and I think green
Mhm.
time ads right away against the new player is the perfect thing because they're gonna if they glance up at the time is still the same or like still below the start time, and so it's just very hard. There's too much happening. I don't think this is noticed.
Yeah, and I think nice to see from Skarni as well is that I think we're sort of playing to the strength of the opposition. Now we do a bit of a twitch bug there. Actually, it's not a twitch bug, my bad. It's just a standing bug, but that one is obviously going to be very hard to spot. And yeah, we saw in the beginning, AI control deciding to go one way. We went the other way. Time obviously just banking on the sniper being overwhelmed and not catching that. And I think it's nice to see that Skarni, knows that he's not playing against a sniper of Rov's caliber. So he's taking some liberties, which obviously can end up being very useful because getting to 5 missions even against newer players can be very challenging.
Yeah,
And yeah,
I think Scardy's strategy here is just to kind of go a little faster with everything because with yeah, like you said, it's not Rav here, and obviously not anybody, should I say, can be compared to that. But this is a newer sniper, newer player, big venue, starting off the match, right? Like, this is fresh. Maybe they did warm-ups before, but outside of that, like, this is the first game. And so you can get away with stuff on a big venue like this earlier in a match, whereas later on, when they've settled down, they got some more reps, and they can see what you're doing, your tendencies, they're more likely to catch you on a couple of things. But early in this game, too much experience. It's just going to be a very, very tough game for Kai. I mean, he's a very good player in Scarny, and he knows what he's doing.
yeah. Now going heading in for the blue bookcase, I think we're gonna transfer here. Obviously, the laser is nowhere near us, which Skarni is very well aware
Yeah,
of. I think nice to him for using the venue like this, seeing that Toby is in one spot and Amba is right there next to him. So, natural that the sniper is gonna want to look there, but that's something that a player as experienced as Skarni can obviously abuse and happily will do.
yeah. At this point, like there was so much happening on this side. The Amba's all the way on the opposite side of that book. The Toby's over here. Like I understand just not watching for that bookcase. At best, you could just say, oh, he went to blue. We can credit this, but it's hard to when you don't see it, it's hard to just be like, oh yeah, they microfilmed. There's just too many characters, too much to watch. This left side is very heavy right now. There's a lot of people over here. I wonder if we could get away with like a purloin.
Yeah, not to mention that the contact was actually pretty well timed, even though it happened like 2 minutes. So I wouldn't blame you if you had already forgotten about that by now. Talking to the audience, not to you, obviously would know that. But yeah, only two low lights still in the party with 2 minutes left, and we just need one more print. And prints are something that I believe is pretty, difficult for newer players to keep track of. I mean, especially in a venue that takes us long to play out like this, there's just a lot of them. And so even if you are guarding the back and, perhaps even noticing what happens to the briefcase, you might not see the amber leaving, prints on like 10 different spots and remember all of them. So,
I
yeah.
fingerprint is probably the hardest mission. I mean, maybe bug as well. I'd say those are probably the ambassador missions are just hard for a new player to catch. I tend to find swaps actually to be something that new players love to look for, which you'll typically not many people go to statues very often against new players because they know they could get away with some of the other missions while you're really like putting a lot of attention to these statues. But that's just something you got to learn over time that how much do I prioritize these statues?
Yeah, and I think you just reminded me of that sort of bell curve meme where, in the middle you have the standard normally average intelligent person who is like, well, I mean, swaps, they are bad, you can just see it, it's whatever. But then the new players are like, oh my god, swaps are so good. And then the top players are like, oh my god, swaps are so good. Because at that point, who's gonna be watching for them? But that's why I like that Scarry, isn't going for something like that, because he knows that these newer players do tend to prioritize them. And so in this example, I think Skarny, yet again, I do keep repeating it over and over, but he is playing to his level, and he actually decides to go for the swap, which is right on screen, and Kaadzik now registers it.
Oh no, with point one on the clock, Tex
Oh.
gets sniped at the bookcase. I wonder if he was at the statue before us, if we saw the swap and thought it could have been a green, giving, Scarney a little too much credit on his action tests, or if that was just a panic shot. I mean, it could really be both either way. I do like the swap in the front of the venue. I think typically you're gonna think, oh, swap is happening at the back because, there's blockage, right? There's a lot of stuff, to look back there, and that could be a sneaky play. But just doing it right in front of your face sometimes is the play, and this time it absolutely was. That was a great adaptability by Scarney. I think we clearly wanted to go for the fingerprints, but it just didn't really work out that way, and we do a swap right in front of his face, and it's not seen.
Yeah, I mean, I do have to say that the only character that was there before us was Irish, and that was 2 minutes before we swapped. So, I honestly, I'm not about to get on the train of complimenting a play because it worked. I think obviously here it worked, but I just feel like you should be able to come up with something else. No, obviously not too hard, not to be too harsh. I mean, the game is hard, and at least it's nice to see Skarny, finding his footing, not fumbling at the first step, and actually when it comes to it, again, I don't think anybody is gonna remember that. Oh my God, Skarny in the first game won in a way that an inferior player and mediocre caster didn't like. I think they're just gonna remember the fact that he got some points. So that's what it really comes down to. That being said, Kaadzik now going to try to reply to Skarny. Obviously, you don't want to get swept on the very first venue of your not of your professional career, but of your endeavors in week 2 of Penguin Pool. And yeah, let's see how he deals with the pressure. Spying Ismam in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, I understand that in the long run that's obviously not the best play in the world, but against a new sniper in a game where a very extended game, that was almost, that was probably 5.5 minutes long. I think that it's just the sniper's just exhausted by that point. They're just tired from trying to remember everything, look at everything. It's a lot to remember. And so I think in a lot of situations that play isn't always going to be the best, but I think in this one it was a very good time to do it.
I mean, it's certainly a whole lot better than timing out, right? So at least credit,
Well,
credit where credit is due.
depends who you ask.
Well, I mean, of course, I love my timeouts, but at that point, when you have 4 missions completed, you might as well get the fifth one. I think the problem with me is that I barely even get 2 missions half the time, so, you know, stuff happens. we do just join an innocent conversation here, though obviously still a lot of time left. 34% on the seduce from earlier, also picked up some inspects and get a highlight for them, but that shouldn't really be a tragedy here. Just seeing how the party develops and the ambassador actually presenting us with a decent opportunity to bug, which Skarny is apparently looking out for though, and we go for
Good
the
bug.
walking bug.
That's a good
Ooh.
off-arm bug. I don't know how that was seen from the sniper side. I watched that from the spy side. It looked pretty good. I mean, maybe the pathing is credited, but that was a good bug, and I liked that. I think sometimes new players can get a little intimidated, and they tend to hold back on the spy side and just try to do ABC spy party, and it typically doesn't work very often. I like the aggression coming out of Kaadzik here to start this game. I think the earlier in the game you do this, the better, because you can test the limits and figure out what exactly is going to work and what is not. And, long way to go. We only have one mission, but it's a good mission to have done, and we do have some good progress.
Yeah, and I mean, even looking at that from the sniper perspective, it was just a really nice bug.
Ooh.
Skarny flashing Duke here, so that's very interesting, but we go for the contact, which unfortunately knocks out Duke, so Skarny
Yeah.
gonna be really confused here. We are going for the transfer, it seems, and I think that one is gonna be remembered, though the shot isn't coming off yet exactly, so perhaps not. Good progress from Kaadzik, and, even the fact that after taking the bug, he went to the balcony, faced the sniper, and just did two reads and basically stopped reading at the perfect time. Just really nice on the etiquette. Reading on the side of the venue is something that I didn't start doing until 50 com games in. Maybe I was just too scared to do it. But yeah, Kazik apparently just not scared to do stuff. Gets a white flirt to leave him at 57%, so obviously gonna need the green one to finish it here, but has some real promising progress, and we are one of the only highlights remaining, but that's just for partial inspects, and, you know, there's you just got a lot going on for us, which I really like here from Kaadzik.
Look, no matter what, if we lose this game or not, I am a big fan of the aggression that is coming out from Kaadzik. I think we have a good plan. Oh, the laser movement looks like we're kind of suspicious here. Yep.
Yeah, and we get shot for finishing inspects, which I think is understandable. Maybe the path there also not the cleanest, just taking the long way around. So yeah, nice job from Skarny to parse it through. I think the unfortunate thing there is that if we didn't actually contact, which it wasn't a bad contact by any means, but unfortunately knocked out the suspect, which Skarny was flashing in the middle of the game. Obviously, no way for Kazik to know that, and I think he can be happy with himself. For this game doesn't get the point, but certainly showing that he's a capable spy, and I'm excited to see what more he's able to accomplish in this set and beyond.
Yeah, it's possible that we got some bug credit and micro credit. I'm sure that we weren't, just watching this character, but I'm also sure that we watched the path. I mean, we were 100% on screen when we got to the green bookcase, and then we have a
Hmm.
book later, in the game after our contact at blue. And so I think once we go to blue there, we're probably a really high suspect just for potential microfilm. And then we're going and finishing inspects. It does look like a spy, trying to get missions done and finishing. And Scarny is a little too experienced to miss that. But even though it didn't work for Kaadzik, I like the craft that they have there. I mean, this is a new player, with this level of play. I think clean a couple things up, maybe you know read laser movement a little better. They have a really good spy on their hands.
Yeah, I mean, I would take a spy like this any game of the week, and I'd obviously have a bunch of tourneys under my belt. So really nice stuff from Kazik, though. Admittedly, it just says more about my spy than theirs. It's about 50-50, but yeah, really solid spy game. Obviously, though, a big part of competitive spy party is holding down the sniper games. I think if you're outside of comp, then sniper can be a little more challenging, but there's just so much knowledge about what the spy can and can't do that the sniper games and holding them down is really what it comes down to most often. And so we'll see if he's able to get that, or if Skarny is able to, surprise him again and get away with another spy game right here on Courtyard, spying as Rocker in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, I fully agree with your point because I was the same way. I think when I first started playing, my spy wasn't great, but I think the spycraft was there. The where I really
Yeah.
lacked was the sniper, and even in the SCL, uh, I only sniped at a 51% win rate, which is not good if for anyone wondering, because this is a sniper-sided game, so you should be winning a lot more. But, it takes a while to get that sniper craft in. It's hard to really learn everything about the characters and what they do and, learn about progress and follow everything. So that it's going to take some time. The spy craft is typically there sooner than the sniper craft, but once you can figure out that sniper, you can become very dangerous in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the great thing about you mentioning SEL is that you did well, and I unfortunately wasn't there to play, so I can't really say much about that. Though I can say for myself that in the events that I've played you before, I think you always viewed your spy as like stronger comparatively to your sniper, and I was the opposite. Where like my sniper, even from the beginning, obviously as a beginner you're gonna miss a lot, but I was definitely like way better on my sniper than on my spy. I think I still am to this day, although the sniper got worse and the spy didn't really get any better. What is getting better, at least for Kaadzik here, is the situation on the clock. jscarny actually goes for a request. It's a green one though, and that majorly shifts the tone of the game
No,
because until now we haven't done a single mission and it's 2 minutes. But yeah, I'm curious to see if he spotted this. Sari's gonna take. She's the first person immediately, I think. Obviously cannot be her, but can Kaadzik recall who was it that it rejected before her?
the green purloins
Nope.
early on are very scary, especially when you're not even in a conversation. It's just very hard to even know where that came from. And now that we missed the purloin, we're in a horrible spot. Missing any mission that's not inspect, contact, seduce on this menu, it puts us in such a terrible shot or a terrible spot. But we find
Oh,
the shot anyway. What a good shot there by Kaadzik. Oh my goodness. I didn't, when we shook the camera, I didn't think we were going to find that. I wonder if we knew it was a green or what, but
uh,
that's a really, really tough shot, and we are correct.
well, a big part of it is that Skarni going for the fake, but we are unfortunately in the only conversation with the SDA, So really only a couple of characters here who had real, and then we just hit a white test that was like insanely visible. So I think we are the only one with a white test. So Kaadzik sensibly shooting the only person who could have a white BB here. Now, obviously, oftentimes this is not gonna end up being the correct shot, but I think it's nice to see that even if, Kazik perhaps misses something, or I don't know if he, remembered later, but I think this is just intuitively a very nice shot. A lot of time has passed. There could have been some other mission you missed. Oftentimes the BB is what ends the game, and so going for this, I think intuitively it's great and it pays off here. So nice job from Kazik.
Yeah, very, very, very strong intuition there. And I think it was a multitude of things. I don't think it was any one specific thing. It was, oh, we were offered a drink over here and the list is gone 20 seconds later. Oh, we were in conversation with the double agent. We're talking as the banana bread goes off. It's those couple of
Mm-hmm.
things. And, maybe a little bit of paranoia as well from the sniper side. Just, oh, maybe we missed a bug. So I'm going to shoot you, just so I don't kick myself later for losing while you're my top suspect. And those are the type of shots that sometimes they're gonna bite you. Those you're gonna sometimes shoot civs in those spots. However, in this spot, it does not bite Kaadzik. It was a great intuition, great read, and we get our first point of the match.
Yeah, absolutely. And so Kazik now suddenly looking at this game thinking, hang on, these giants that I'm actually facing here, they aren't invincible, they can bleed. I, as a relatively newer player, can pick up a game even from somebody who I'm pretty sure has hit the 5-digit mark in Skarny. If not, he's gonna be very close to that. And so let's see if he can apply more pressure and perhaps get his spy side going as well right here. Spying as red dress in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, I think a goal for Kaadzik would be if we could get one spy win at some point in this match. I think it's just internally it feels like a win. It may not be a
Mhm.
win of the game, whether it is or not, but if we could get one spy game past Skarny's good sniper, that's huge for the confidence. And I think we've already seen in just 3 matches that Kaadzik knows what they're doing. This is a new player, but they have the potential, the craft to do well in this game, and they've shown it already.
Yeah, I mean, what I love about many of these new players that I've seen is that they just aren't scared to do missions. To be fair, that's only really a major theme with me. I feel like pretty much every other rookie that's, come to the game in the past year hasn't been as pro to timing out as I am. But obviously, this game is about Kaadzik, not about me, so I'm gonna shut up and actually commentate about what's on screen. He does join the seduction target again, which quite awkwardly crammed into that position, and Skarny is somebody who I'm pretty sure does flirt pair, so he might be on the lookout for that. Now, white flirt again, 68%, so obviously the next flirt from this range would do it, so good news there for Kaadzik. And yeah, the real question on courtyard, of course, is that, you can get the contact oftentimes, just very clean. You're definitely gonna be able to pick up flirt, but what are the other missions? And Kaadzik here deciding, yeah, now is the time to do statues.
I don't think we're going to be much of a suspect for flirt pairing because Irish actually joined the conversation at the same time we did. Uh,
Mm.
he was at the window as we were walking towards the conversation, and she stepped in right before us, almost like inviting us. She was seducing us, if you ask me. So she should get some flirt progress as well. But we have the statues done. We have, we only need one more flirt, another print. I think it's going to be, we can get away with the flirt and a contact. I think it's just going to be hard to get a print here. I mean, that ambassador was clearly there. And, I think it's always hard to say. You never know for sure if it's seen, but I am inclined to believe that we are a very high suspect right now.
Yeah, I mean, one of the only four highlights, which are all statue visitors, as far as I know. And yeah, we go for the briefcase here, and Skarny not shooting, perhaps because contact hasn't come off yet, and he's just that confident in the fact that he hasn't given up a mission. Now, let's see the return. This can often be where newer players burn themselves, but this one, nicely done from Kaadzik. Nothing really to say there. And so he's gonna make his way over to a window pad, although there are no windows. Don't know what else to call it. And yeah, now just gonna wait to see where the double agent ends up joining and
I'm going to join.
head right into the conversation and go for it, I think.
Oh, where are we going? Uh, I didn't love that one. I would have preferred if we just took a smaller entry. We contact mission win
Oh,
countdown,
it's 6
5
seconds
seconds.
though. The laser
Yes.
is on us. Skarny pulls the
Oh,
trigger.
that's a that's a really good shot from Scarny, and I think that was a
Hmm.
good game from Kaadzik. I really think we played correctly. I mean,
Yep.
yeah, we didn't win the game, but we are 4 or 5 seconds away from mission wins complete there, and that was very clearly not like a instant. Oh, I know you're the spy shot. That was an uncomfortable shot. I feel it was a you're probably the spy, but I'm not 100%. You haven't done any
Yeah.
hard tells. It's a contact and soft tells. So that was a very good game from Kaadzik, and that's just a very experienced sniper in Skarny. You know, it's very hard to get things by on this venue if you're on top of everything, and Skarny was on top of everything, and good play from both sides, honestly.
Yeah, I think this is sort of the, from the sniper's POV is one where like, despite they have completed missions, so I pretty much, we pretty much have to shoot that, but you still have doubts in your mind, like, am I sure this is the spy? No, am I 90% sure? Probably not, but I kind of just gotta take the shot, and here, Skarny, his mission tracking, his sort of, camping abilities, his mission watching abilities do him good, and he takes the game. So still really love what I'm seeing from Kaadzik here. Uh, Definitely, a player to look out for in the future rounds as he perhaps starts getting matched against players who are, not quite as high as Carney's level. But while I'm saying that the set is just 3-1, Kaadzik has shown a lot of promise and it's by no means over yet. So let's see what he can do here on the sniper side of library, and let's see if Skarny can trouble him. Spying as Irish in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, one thing that Kaadzik has really established here is that he can finish missions.
Hmm.
He finished missions on this last match. He was about to finish missions on Veranda. He has established that he can finish missions, which is going to put the pressure on Skarny a little bit. Even though Skarny has played very well so far, the fact that we're finishing missions means that we're more likely to take a sip shot in the future for somebody doing a lot of mission progress and finishing. And so, yes, while yes, we didn't get the win, we have put ourselves like we have put our stamp in this map,
Hmm.
and we have shown that we are here to play now. We get away with a microfilm, I think. So that's a good start from Scarny.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, absolutely. And I think one of the things that you said, talking about, establishing the fact that you're actually capable of completing missions, it's a thing that gets talked about quite a lot in the community, and I don't love it in regards to experienced players. I think we heard it, a lot in the SCL finals, between Asta and Rolf, where actually, we didn't really hear it a lot, but that's the thing is that they don't need to establish that they can do missions. They time out a lot. Like half of the game was timeouts in the final, if you recall. And the thing about them is they don't need to show you that they are capable of finishing because they've been in the community for so long and have been playing at such a high level that you just know it. But for somebody like Kaadzik, who's building up his reputation, it's really nice to show, people, not just your opponent in the short term, but also in the long term that, hey, I'm not one where you can just hold your shots and expect to win. And that's obviously something that you love to see for the future of this up and coming player.
Yeah, and I think one now that you've established that, there's layers, right? You could build off that
Hmm.
where you start framing other people now. You could start, you could time out a couple times just to keep them honest. So it's like, hey, I'm not always finishing missions. It's good to balance it. It's good to mix it all up. But just establishing yourself in this community as someone who can finish missions against a top level sniper and force Scarny into a tough shot, it's huge, I think. And it's huge for the confidence as well. Like maybe in the moment, getting shot isn't a huge confidence boost, but I think Kaadzik is playing in a way where they have some confidence in themselves. I think they are a confident player, even if they aren't as experienced, and it's a very very fun to watch.
Yeah, definitely. And Kazik has certainly been challenging Skarny in the games that we've seen so far, not giving him any easy shots. And yeah, I mean, I would love
Oh,
to see that continue.
and we
Takes the
catch
shot
it.
on Skarny. I think
Good
spots the
catch.
microfilm. Yeah, I mean, really nice job there from Kazik. Seeing that his spy is also alert, and yeah, I mean, taking a quick glance there, Amba in motion, but not scared to look away for a second, and yeah, just see Skarny on the transfer. Nice shot.
If we didn't tell you before this game that Kaadzik was a newer player, and you probably would have just thought that these two players have been playing for a while. I mean,
Hmm.
Kaadzik was completely in control of that last party. I mean, we didn't even finish our second mission and we got shot there. I would have kind of liked to see us do the microfilm in that back corner conversation. I feel like there was nothing happening over there, and I don't think we would have been watched very long. We were alone, and I think that could have been a cheeky play there. Regardless, that wasn't what we did, and it's easy for me to say now what should be done then in the moment. But Kaadzik was on top of it, and now it's 3-2.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this is one of these games where I wouldn't even mind, a timeout. Obviously, not what you want to be going for, but it's 5 minutes. It's very confusing when you have
When
five
do
of
you
eight.
ever
So,
not hope for a timeout? Let's be real here. I feel like you want a timeout every single game, and I'm like, no, do missions, get them all done in 30 seconds.
well, no, but the thing is, I don't like air control. I like this caster likes timing out the good
There's
old-fashioned
only
way.
one gentleman I know that likes AI control. Let me tell you.
Yeah. Well, that being said, we are gonna be moving on to this next game right here with Alice, with Kazik spying as Alice in three, two, one, playing it. And yeah, obviously showing a lot of promise on the spy, and let's see if they can do it again and perhaps startle, Skarny here and equalize the game in the midway point, which would obviously be very pleasant and I think surprising to everyone, but not that surprising given how we've been playing.
That was a little bit of a long reject. Yep, yep. We just got a highlight
Mhm.
for that reject time. Those are the little things, right? So, new player like Kaadzik, he clearly has the craft to be a successful spy party player, right? The problem is typically with new players is the little things, the little details that someone like Scarny knows the timing of things. We get away with a bug. At best that's credited. Otherwise we'd be seeing flashes, but we were behind the pillar. See, it's plays like that are really really strong from COD, and I think we have so much potential. But I think we already are in a rough spot because of the reject. And so we could play, we could have the right plan, we could play the right way, but if we don't walk the right way, we don't move the right, we don't, reject the right way, we don't have the right timing. You have to really put it all together on the spy side, and it feels like we have most of it already, which is good because we have the parts that are important, and over time we're going to learn, about those other smaller details, and once we clean that up, I think we're going to be a really strong spy.
Yeah, totally. I think the biggest problem here, obviously, is that, there's 21 guests, but we are probably the top suspect right now just for the recheck. Although Skarny's not eyeing this as close as you would imagine he could, so he probably could have actually gotten away with like an animation microfilm there. So perhaps not that strong of a number one suspect, but yeah, we are gonna be up there as one of the few highlights. And the problem now being that, especially on a venue like this, it's really hard to get away with missions once you're
We
actually highlight, once you're in the
we def
sniper's scope to say.
we definitely are the top suspect because our laser is kind of moving with us walking, like or almost watching us walk.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, there
Yep.
it is. Yeah, and that's one thing about newer players as well. I think they love to take a book, and I'm guilty of this as well. Love to take a book and slam it into another shelf. I think at the higher levels, though, those are watched for, and the animation is almost safer unless you can get away with a book pull. Regardless, though, yeah, I think he found out the hard way that it's hard to pull a book and put it in another shelf, especially when we're already a high suspect.
Yeah, and with that one, Skarny is able to hold down the sniper side of this venue where it's fairly hard to find a spy win to begin with. Yeah, we're gonna be moving on to gallery. We are at the midway point of the set. Kaadzik on 2 points, Skarny on four, and obviously Kaadzik been doing really good. Play just the eye test, really nice. And let's see what Skarny can do here to get a one up on Kaadzik yet again and try to get a win as Kane in three, two, one, playing it.
The longer that Kaadzik continues to play well on the sniper side, the more opportunities he's going to give himself to get back and tie this game up. Where it's only a one venue game still, right? So we've only
Hmm.
given one sniper game, and that's not terrible. It's obviously not ideal. It can be a little stressful to be down a game with when you're playing such a good sniper. But like you give yourself an opportunity to get have a chance in the match. The problem is if we lose this sniper game, we don't really have that margin of error because then we'd be down 5-2 and we'd be spying against a very high level sniper. And so if we want a chance to win this match or tie this match, we're really going to need to hold down on the sniper side here. We only have 34% on the flirt, and we're now going to the green bookcase. I believe this might have a print on it. So I wonder if we're going to just do the print or microfilm as well.
Yeah, we read as the fingerprint though, so the difficult there, proving too difficult. That's a lot of difficulties, and hopefully no technical difficulties plaguing the broadcast or the players. Uh, yeah, just watching some clean, nice spy party. Skarny deciding to chase his selection target here a little. It's a pretty full convo, but he will find his spot there, and let's just hope that the ST doesn't bail.
The double agent does bail, which is unfortunate. And I think the only person that was hoping for some technical difficulties on this stream was Guggy, while he had to suffer through that last match. But thankfully, we're not there. We're in a pretty competitive match so far here. We're just standing here. I wonder if we're gonna timer flirt. Uh, newer players don't typically zoom on gallery as much, which I zoom on gallery too much. So we're both kind of bad for that, but
Yeah,
it's good not to. Oh, we get
tip
zoomed.
shot.
Wow. Yeah. Let me. I don't know what that is for. We were okay. We go to the green bookcase next to the ambassadors, so maybe we're just crediting, that. And then we're later. I think we're at the blue bookcase later. We do a print. Oh, okay. So we had prints potentially in COD's mind. We could have had microfilm if we had
Uh,
bug as well. I mean, at that point, I think we're just paranoid.
Well, the thing is that we're going for a briefcase later down the line as well, and I think just behaviorally, Kaadzik is gonna see that and be like, okay, well, you've got a bookcase once, you could have transferred, and now you're going for a second one. Like, it's just really aggressive, and the AI playing ball here with Skarny, allowing him to get the fifth point, and now it's gonna be really difficult for Kaadzik to claw his way back in. Let's see if he can do it though. Spying right here, Aztecs in three, two, one, playing it.
Yeah, just a panic shot, and the advice I'd give, I don't think God was wrong for having Pearls as a top suspect because she did do a lot, but I think you want to wait for them to at least do a potential mission, even if
Hmm.
it's just talking in conversation, flirting, because at that point we're clearly not done, right? We walk all the way down the venue to a briefcase, we don't get the briefcase, and so we're walking back up. We just want to wait at least for something to be done. Because the spy needs to have a mission to be finishing, and there was just no way we were finishing from walking. And so, yeah, I think the right thought process, but we gotta you want to feel it out a little more. You want to wait and see if this person is continuing to finish all the missions.
Yeah, I mean, totally. I think it's just one of those things where, in the heat of the moment, you're perhaps getting into your
Of
own head
course.
a little bit. You had some nice games already, had a nice sniper shot as well, and so it's just one of these, adrenaline flowing. I really think it's you, let's get it. And obviously, if you get it in the spot, it can be a nice confidence boost, even sometimes just hurrying the shot a bit. If you're just that certain, it's gonna give you even more confidence. But, on the flip side, if it doesn't work out, which oftentimes it won't, then, you just kind of cost yourself a game, which maybe you weren't, primed and poised to win to begin with because, your eyes were already on NAI, but you could have at least give yourself a better chance. Now, where Kazik is giving himself a good chance is this spy game where he gets a
Uh,
pretty nice contact. We only get a couple low lights from it.
this
Quite
this
a
is
decent chunk.
this is very
Hmm.
unfortunate because the other SDA was outside with us. So both
Oh.
SDAs were outside, and that means only about 5 people have real contact, maybe even 4 people have real contact. On top of the fact that we have been taking a couple of lowlights for paths, if we go and slam this book back in blue, I don't think it's gonna work. I think we've shown that we're on top of the book slams. We've been holding a book. This is something we did last round as Alice, and we got shot right when we went to bookshelf, and I don't think it'll work here, especially because we've proven to the sniper that that's what we like to do.
Hmm.
So I'm definitely concerned if that's our plan, which it looks like it is, because now we're we're getting to about a minute and a half on time here. Yep, we're going to the blue bookcase, and we're shot. Yep.
Well, we had the perfect read there. Skarny had it as well. Obviously knows that, this mission is something that Kazik likes going for quite a lot, and so is able to hold it down, keep track of it. Perhaps, the fact that we're one of the few people with real BB puts even more suspicion onto us. But yeah, just nice shot by Skarny, showing his experience. He's on top of this game, and now Kazik is gonna need a real miracle to even get a tie from this game, as he cannot even possibly hope for more, given that Skarny has reached the magical 6 points.
Yeah, but more so than the last game, I think Kaadzik is taking every single game as a learning experience, a learning
Mm.
opportunity. And so while yes, he can't outright win the match anymore, I don't think that is that important right now. I think the point of Penguin Pool is to play against players that may be better than you to learn a lot. You learn by playing these games. Getting your ass kicked, sorry for my language, um, is a good thing in this game because the more you lose, the more you get beat up on, the more you learn and the better you can become. And so, yeah, we I think we've learned by now that the book dumping is not going to work. And so I'll be curious to see what we try. But now we're on 5 of 8 ballroom.
Yeah, and Skarny choosing a bit of a slower character on this one. Has some nice bugs though, and obviously Ballroom is quite a small venue. Like there's a decent amount of space, but it's crowded. There isn't a lot of places where you need to travel to, and so let's see if he can close down the set or at least guarantee himself the victory here. Spying as White Dress in three, two. Spying as Alice, apologies. In three, two, one, playing it. So not really picking the slower character though. That is the ST here.
You're actually forgiven because I was also looking at the sniper POV and it did look
Mm.
like Pearls was the spy. but then I saw that it was Alice. So understandable mishap there. Either way, Alice is probably one of my favorite spies. She's kind of a smaller character, but she isn't the slowest of the lady characters, and yeah, she's a good spy character if you ask me. So I like to see this out of Scarny. All right, we get offered a drink here. Are we gonna take the purloin, or are we just
It's a
gonna?
white purloin, yeah.
Oh, it is a white purloin. I wonder if this is seen.
And Kaadzik, yeah, now he sees the tab,
Oh,
and
unless this
it's
gone.
looking
Oh,
very
this is
empty.
bad for
So
us.
Banana bread.
Oh yeah, the laser's right on us. Yeah, that is as easy as it gets to read right there. I mean, purloin goes off and the laser's on our back. You know,
white BB as well.
I don't know if we were hoping for a cat to come jump on Alice there to take her down for us, if that's why we just kept the laser there, or but we ended up finding the correct shot. It's good to stay on top of that, and yeah, good shot.
Well, I think the problem is that if we shoot about a second earlier, there's like three characters trying to block the shot, generously in the way. So, perhaps trying to aid Skarny a bit, but Kazik knows not to hurry. No reason to there,
Well,
and so
exactly. That's why you get the.
yeah.
That's why you put the laser for the cat. If the cat jumps on them, then they're on the
Hmm.
ground and they can't move, and then you don't have to worry about that. But
Hmm.
either way, found the correct shot, cat or not, and yeah, it's it's funny to see, a new player's laser. They're like, yeah, you know what you did wrong. I'm gonna hold this on you for 5 seconds so you know the bad thing you just did before I shoot you. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
rub it in, Con. I like it.
That's, that's certainly a choice of words, and so okay, well, Kazik is gonna be spying as Disney here in three, two, one, playing it. And now, at least, theoretically, the hopes for ties are not there, although we've mentioned several times that that's probably not the most important thing here. He's lining himself up for a bit of a bug there, but doesn't, work out exactly, and especially with Skarny's laser position, that was never really, gonna work in the first place. Now, just an innocent watch here, which I quite like, a time that can be pretty visible, and that would essentially doom us from the get-go. So, one thing that is important, however, even though I said that, is not to play too cautiously. There are 5 missions, you are most likely gonna have to do them, unless you decide to time out, which some people may consider my favorite play, and I would be one of them. But yeah, I mean, if you're actually planning on doing missions, which you probably should, then
Yeah,
you don't want to
I
get spotted,
I
in
would
the
love to
beginning.
see I would love to see this game if we could go the game without going to both bookshelves. I think I think as Scarny we are paying a lot of attention to everybody that's taking books because we have already dumped twice. And I think it would be very good if we could try a spy game where we don't even think about the books, just because if we if we want to go to the books once and then don't do anything with it, I would like that, because then it would be like, oh, he's not doing anything with this book, he's not really that suspicious. uh because every time we've gone to the books, we've gotten a lot of flack for it, and I think it would just be good to see a game that, if we could prove that we can play this without the microfilm, it would be really really big for us.
Hmm. And what I like here, at least behaviorally, is that we get the print, which entirely legal. Obviously, we positioned ourselves quite nicely so that when the ambassador leaves the ambassador's,
The
what is it?
briefcase,
It's a
the
briefcase, yeah.
case. Yeah,
Awesome, awesome.
that's
Thank you.
typically a briefcase,
English,
handbag,
English is
purse.
very hard, yeah.
You can say whatever term you'd like. It's certainly a bag at the very least.
Yeah, well, what I wanted to say is that I quite like seeing that we didn't go back to the exact same conversation
Banana
yet.
bread.
Obviously, attention would have been on us, and so,
Hey, we
uh,
fake with no SDAs and Cloudbow. Hey,
oh,
nice. I mean, it's not, obviously right idea, but typically, if you're gonna fake, I prefer to do a fake with the real double agent in a conversation at least, so you know that people have real BB. Because if your double agent's out, then you're kind of playing a game of chance because you don't know who the other SDA is, and so yeah, if we were gonna get a mission done with that BB, I would have been fine with it. We let off two free lowlights. Not really, we don't gain anything from it, so not a very good play from us. But we didn't know.
Yeah, and at this point we have to start looking at the clock as well. I would have thought that we would just contact and flirt there, but that's not what we're doing. We finish statues instead. Wonder if this one is printable, because it would make a lot of sense, though it seems like it is not. So at least we get the mission over, but yeah, so far only one mission. Obviously we just need one more print to finish that, then flirt is mostly done. Contact we can get right here, but still just a minute and 15 left, and it's gonna have to be, quite a rush to actually finish the missions, but as we've already seen, Kaadzik
God.
more than capable of doing that. And the double agent leaves.
Oh no, this is such a brutal game. I think we're already in trouble because when you have inspects done, you're just so heavily watched, and now we've got tried to contact with the double agent. They leave, and so we now don't have that progress. We still need a print. We still need contact. We
Oh,
do.
nice bug!
That is a good
Nice
bug, man.
bug!
We have had some really good bugs in this game. It's not all there. It's not all perfect, but we have gotten away with every bug so far. We have not been shot for a single bug yet.
We get the print as
And
well.
we get the print. Okay. I mean, it's gonna come down to a contact. There's no only us and Alice and Taft are gonna have real. And Alice leaves. That's terrible for us. But she joins us. That's great for us.
In the end of red.
No, Banana Bread comes off, 9
Is it?
seconds
Are we
remaining.
gonna make it?
Skarny, so far, looking at us,
5 seconds.
I think we are
Four.
definitely the prime
Come on.
suspect, but he just doesn't think that we have finished
He's
it, and
looking
he
at
does
us.
not end
He's
up
looking
taking
at
the
us.
shot.
Yes! Oh my god, we get it through. What a game.
It's
Oh,
sensational from
In the
Kaadzik.
end of red.
Kaadzik had some pretty bad luck for him going that game. The first contact, nobody had real. The second contact, nobody had real. And our DA left us. We only had the inspects done. We finished the flirt. We still needed 3 missions with 50 seconds. We get an incredible bug on the entry. It did not, it was visible if we were looking, but I don't think we really saw anything. It was a great timing. And that print and then the contact at the end, I think I do kind of question. I mean, I guess from Scarny's mind, he's like, you don't have 5 missions done. There's no way. You have inspects, you have contact, you have seduce. Maybe prints. And at the end of the day, I think that bug was so good, we got away with it.
Yeah, so I mean, just absolutely phenomenal stuff from Kaadzik, able to pull this off against basically any sniper is a feat, but especially one of Skarny's caliber. And yeah, I mean, suddenly it's basically one more venue to sweep, and he could be right back in it.
In the end of
Now,
red.
it's gonna be the 408 variant of Ballroom, so yet again, SpyParty's golden child, and let's see if Skarny can put a stop to this, theoretical comeback. It's just 2 in a row, we don't have to panic yet, but would be real nice if he wasn't relying on the last sniper game to seal it. So let's see if he can do that here, spying as queen in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
So apparently Scarny said that it was connection issues. Get wrecked, bozo. I think COD just won straight up. I don't want to hear it. That COD is my goat. And now he has a chance to tie it. If we can win the sniper game, we'll be spying for the tie on this last match. So this is, it's gotten interesting. We have a chance to tie this thing up and really give ourselves that's a point. If you tie, you get a point, a whole point, and that's a lot.
Well, so the great thing about the message, just being in chat and not appearing on broadcast is that we don't have to reveal that to the viewer, and we can sort of keep this fairy tale going. But somebody deciding
Ah.
that perhaps fairy tales don't
Nah,
don't have to.
nah, the only fairy tale is Scarny blaming the loss on lag. Get out of here. COD with a great bug. Maybe as top suspect, but that spy game was incredible, if you ask me. And I think, even if there was a little bit of lag,
White
we didn't.
purloin, white purloin.
Oh, if we see the list, it depends how long it takes us to see this list. If we see this list soon, we're gonna be in trouble here on the spy side.
I think we see it now.
We see it. We see it. Oh, big reaction.
I mean, we are lulling the drink there, so that could grab the sniper's attention here.
Okay. So we mark general suspicious, probably for statues.
Oh, we get
Ooh,
the highlight
Queen
on the
is.
spy, which is really crucial here.
Oh gosh. Okay. So we are a big suspect for this purloin. We try to bug on as the amber walks by. It does not take. He was a little too far outside. Good try, innocent try. We had a lot of cover. It was off arm. No way that it was seen. I liked the attempt. It didn't work out. Now we're just gonna timer for it, finish this, and we gotta find a way to get one other mission. we know the purloin's gone, and we know that we don't know, but we are a suspect for this purloin. We're the only one that got highlight for the purloin itself, and so it's gonna be hard to get a fourth mission done.
Yeah, I think the problem is that General also picked up a highlight around the same time, though that one
In
was
the end of
for
round.
a statue inspect.
Interesting.
And yeah, we fake here, but we are ones who would be doing, a white fake, and the only real other highlight in, who actually has real is Alice, and so we don't even get the mission there.
Hmm.
Uh, it would be curious to see. We're probably just trying to induce a sip shot. I mean, obviously it's a fake, but Kaadzik not biting, holding his patience, and so far it's just 50 seconds on the clock, and we still need to do 2 more missions.
One thing we gotta clean up on the sniper side. We gotta be taking lowlights. There was so many people out of conversation for that BB. There was like 4 people, maybe 5 people not in conversation during that. We gotta get at least a couple lowlights. It'll just ease our minds a lot more because when you have to watch everybody, it can be a little overwhelming even if you're on top of it. And so the less people you have to watch, the better. Um, yeah, but it
Yeah,
was a
and
fake regardless. So as long as we don't take a panic shot here, we're in a good spot.
gain finishing inspect though, and I mean, obviously swap is not gonna come up, but we are zooming in now. It's 10 seconds remaining. Too late already for us to take the shot on Kenny. I think Skarny is gonna try to swap for him, but I mean, the missions
Is
is
he gonna
just not
get
gonna
Kane
be enough.
shot?
We are gonna time out. We are gonna time out right
Yep,
here.
yep. Oh wow,
And
what
Kaadzik,
a hold.
3 games in a row now, 6-5 and 1 game, separating him from the miracle tie against one of the better players that we have here in the community.
Yeah, that was a very good hold because we were very confident. I think that it was Queen because if we weren't, we probably would have been looking elsewhere for a shot with the Perlin going off. I mean,
Yeah, and
Kane
low
had
lights
center
as
stat.
well.
Yeah, Kane had center statues. Yeah, agreed. We didn't take any low lights as well for that. We didn't do anything else really. We were just kind of watching. Um, yeah, I understand not taking the low lights if you're confident, but also like you can't be 100%. You don't want to get tunneled. Yes, we are correct in this instance, but you want to take the low lights because you want to know later down the line who to watch, since you got to treat the party equally, even if you are pretty confident. Um, we
Yeah,
got one more game left, and it's 6-5. If Kaadzik wins this game, we have tie party today.
yeah. So let's see if we can do that. One last game, spying right here as Blink win in 3, 2, 1, playing it. And yeah, Spawn's pretty close next to the Amba, but no real opportunity to bug there.
Yeah, I think at this point we're very happy no matter what if we're Kaadzik. And I think Scardy is freaking out internally like, "Oh my god, am I about to
Oh, I
tie
like
this
this.
newer
This is
player?"
aggressive. I like it.
Yeah, very aggressive from us. We got to do that. Let's do the right statue first. We can inspect that in time. We get it done. We're not hitting greens. We might have to put this down.
I think we go for the
Oh,
last one. And
we do a small bit of 3 cycle. I don't know if it was seen. If we were watching for that, we'd probably be dead because it was an animation break. However, I don't know if it was. There was some cover.
yeah, I mean, that's what this game is largely gonna come down to. I mean, even if it wasn't seen right, that's an insanely suspicious, I mean, just like a thing to 3 cycle at all here on Ballroom. So obviously we're gonna be the suspect #1 pretty much for the rest of the game, and that's
Ooh.
not something that we can do. And we decide to go back for the statue, but I don't know if I love that because we don't go for the printable one, which I think makes sense, not to attract more suspicion onto us. But this just makes it seem as though we didn't actually get the inspects in time and are just trying to, correct our mistake here. So I don't know if I like this.
Yeah, I think typically when you are a more experienced player and you prove that you can hit greens and finish in 2 cycles, it makes sense to go back to kind of confuse the sniper. But I think as a newer player, it does kind of look like, oh, I only got 2 white tests. I'm going to go back to the same statue and finish, and it'll look not suspicious. So I agree with you on that assessment that, when you're not as established for your green tests and your play, it's not the best play. But I do think over time, when you get more experience, it actually can become a good play because then to the sniper it could look like, oh, they're just wasting time doing the mission again.
Yeah, totally. And obviously, Kazik now 1 minute and 30 remaining. Partial progress on the flirt, but only 34% is gonna need at
Ooh,
least 2 more. And the
ooh,
problem
this is
here,
scary.
yeah, it is. And the problem here is that It's just the white at 67%, haha. But very serious stuff going on here. 1 minute 10 seconds remaining, and we still need to find, the contact presumably, and then one more mission.
Oh
We are
no.
suspect number one, and we have seen Kaadzik do more crazy plays and win crazier games, but this one is just the fake, which ends up giving us the real, so insanely unfortunate there. And yeah, we move on, probably trying to bug there.
We are good at these bugs. These bugs are really,
Yeah,
really
but we see
strong.
the snapback. I think the snapback was seen with the hand. I think Skarny, if he was looking for that, he would be shooting here. And Kaadzik on the book now, just
We
put it
already
back
have
down.
we already have BB though, so at this
Yeah,
point we should be getting. Oh, okay. We're the top suspect right
we get
now, but I'm
flashed, yeah.
I'm very
I think,
curious as to why we're being flashed. I wonder if we already contacted with the double agent. I wonder if this contact is gonna change anything. We really gotta do it soon, because then we also have to flirt.
Banana bread.
yeah, and the white
We
is
have to go
not looking
flirt.
too good on that, yeah. And I think now chasing down
Can
the
we shoot
seduction
for a
target,
flirt?
but
Can
this
we
is
shoot
gonna
for
be
a
very
flirt?
awkward. I think
We
that's the statue,
can.
but it's so
Oh my
cramped in
god,
the
good
yeah.
shot. Oh man, that was a very strong game. I think actually if we would have been a little more aggressive earlier in the game with and gotten more flirt progress and not had to chase her at the end, I think we would have won that actually
Banana bread.
because
Yeah.
even though we did like take a look at the bug, I mean at that point we really should have shot if we believed it was them because they did have real BB, they did have the inspects. And if we thought they bugged, it's hard to just be like, oh yeah, you don't have that flirt when they have been in conversation a while. And so I think this game was really, really good from us. I think we just maybe waited a little bit too long to flirt because if we got one extra flirt earlier in the middle of the game, even if it wasn't right next to him, like having that extra progress allows us an avenue to finish and not have to obviously chase someone that we have already obviously chased. Other than that, though, I think this was a really good game and a really good set. Skarny takes the win here 7-5, but it was an entertaining game down the stretch.
Yeah, I mean, when it's all said and done, came down to the closest of margins at the end. The result, the winner, the expected winner, did indeed win, but Kazik made it really hard for Skarny, and yeah, just in these games, I'm very, very excited for what Kazik can offer. I think that's gonna be my player to look out for. Perhaps we might see him on another cast. I think that's gonna be it for us, folks. Thanks, Dos, for joining. Thanks, Bryce, for casting with me. If you like what you saw and you want to get the game, then you can get it on Steam or on SpyParty.com to support the developer with a larger cut, a 100% cut, in fact, which Steam, doesn't do 100% because they are lame. It's a great game. You can join as well. Maybe one day you will be on the big screen and your place will be glazed by community veterans and
It's
rookies
a great
alike.
game. It's a great game for new players because a lot of the players that have more experience like to play with new players that are intrigued of learning the
Hmm.
game and like to help and teach. And it actually speeds up the process, even though it's not good for the win-loss ratio. It speeds up the process when you play a lot with really experienced players because you get not only do you get to like learn from them, but you also get the footage of games you play with them, and you could go back and watch games that your opponent has used, and you can kind of implement that into your own game. And so it's a very friendly community, very very fun game. There's a very it's serious but also kind of lighthearted competitive feel, and yeah, it's a good time. You should definitely
Yeah,
check this game out if thinking about it.
yeah. We have a Discord as well. Come join us. Come talk. Let's see what you can do. And with that said, that's gonna be it from us. Thank you very much for joining us, and yeah, goodbye.
Bye.